Ethan Carter had always dreamed of seeing other worlds. From the moment he first looked up at the stars as a child, he had imagined stepping onto a planet where no human had ever set foot. Now, years later, he finally had the chance. Humanity had launched an exploration mission to Aurelia IX, a distant exoplanet covered in dense, glowing forests. The mission was simple in theory: land, survey, and report back. But for Ethan, it felt like stepping into a dream he had been chasing for a lifetime. The shuttle door hissed open, and a rush of fresh, alien air swept over him. The planet smelled faintly sweet, with a hint of something metallic beneath it. Ethan's boots crunched softly on the uneven ground as he took his first steps outside. Bioluminescent plants lit the forest with a soft, shifting glow. Some of the trees had trunks that shimmered like silver, and their leaves pulsed with soft colors, like the beat of a heart. The sky above was a strange shade of violet, dotted with two moons that hung low and bright. Every detail made Ethan's heart pound, but nothing compared to what he saw next. A movement in the distance caught his eye. At first he thought it was one of the local creatures, something small and timid. But then she appeared. She walked toward him, fluid and graceful, as if gliding over the soft moss of the forest floor. Her skin shimmered like liquid silver, catching the light from the glowing plants around her. Her eyes were a warm amber, glowing softly, and they fixed on him with a calm intensity that made Ethan's chest tighten. He froze, unsure if he should move. The mission rules warned about interacting with alien life, but this felt different. It was not fear that gripped him, it was fascination, curiosity, and something else he couldn't name. "Hello," he said cautiously. His voice sounded strange even to him, small against the vastness of the glowing forest. The woman tilted her head slightly, studying him. There was no hesitation, no fear. Instead, she stepped closer, and Ethan felt as if she were looking right into his thoughts. The sensation was unnerving and exhilarating all at once. "I am Liara," she said, her voice soft but melodic, carrying a tone that felt almost musical. "You are the one who has come from the stars." Ethan blinked, caught off guard. "Why, yes, I'm Ethan Carter, human explorer." Liara's lips curved into a small, knowing smile. Ethan felt a jolt in his chest, like a current passing through him. He had expected curiosity or caution, but not this, an immediate connection, as if she had been waiting for him. He tried to speak, but his mind felt clouded. Words failed him. For a moment he simply stared, and she mirrored his gaze. It was as if time slowed. Ethan felt something inside him shift, a feeling so intense and sudden that he could hardly believe it. He had never believed in love at first sight. He had thought it was a story, a dream, something humans told each other to feel something magical in life. Yet here it was, undeniable and real, striking him in the chest like a wave he could not escape. Liara's expression softened. She extended her hand slightly, a gesture of trust and welcome. "You are not like others," she said, her voice almost a whisper. "I know why you are here, I know who you are." Ethan's mind raced. How could she know? He was just a human, one among billions. Yet staring into her eyes, he felt exposed, as if she could see every thought, every hope, every fear. There was something extraordinary about her, not just in appearance, but in the way she seemed to understand him completely, instantly. I don't understand," he said, struggling to find words. "How do you know?" Liara tilted her head again, eyes never leaving his. "I can feel it. I can feel you, your thoughts, your intentions. Your heart is different, brave yet gentle, curious yet cautious. You have a rare quality, human." Ethan swallowed, his mouth dry. His whole life had been spent chasing adventure, but nothing had prepared him for this. That's impossible," he said, shaking his head slightly. "No one has ever," Liara interrupted him softly. "For most, yes, but I sensed you before you arrived. Your energy, your spirit, called out across the stars. I recognized it immediately." Ethan took a step closer, drawn by a force he did not fully understand. His eyes roamed over her face, trying to memorize every detail. Her features were delicate yet alien, flawless and mesmerizing. There was intelligence and wisdom in her gaze, but also warmth, something deeply comforting. He felt a strange mix of fear and exhilaration, a thrill he had never known. You're incredible," he said finally, the words escaping before he could stop them. Liara's smile deepened, almost imperceptibly. "And you are remarkable as well. You carry something rare. You are capable of understanding, of courage, of love." Ethan's breath caught. He wanted to step back, to remind himself that he was just a human on an alien planet, part of a mission, not a fairy tale. But he couldn't. Something about her drew him closer. He felt like he had been searching for this moment his entire life, though he had never known it. They spent hours in cautious observation, learning to communicate. Liara showed him the forests, the glowing plants, and strange creatures that seemed to hum with life. Ethan marveled at everything, but mostly at her. Every movement she made, every gesture, felt purposeful and graceful, as if she were perfectly attuned to the world around her. Yet it was not just her beauty that captivated him. It was her understanding, her awareness, the way she seemed to know him without a word. As the sun, or what passed for the sun on Orlaia IX, began to set, the forest transformed. Colors shifted and danced, painting the trees and ground in a spectrum of shimmering light. Ethan watched in awe, but his gaze always returned to her. She seemed almost to glow against the ethereal landscape, and he realized he could not remember ever feeling anything like this. Every moment with her felt electric, charged with a connection he could not explain. Liara, noticing his fascination, spoke softly. "Humans are interesting. You carry passion and determination even in the smallest things. I felt your approach long before you arrived, and I knew you were different. Most species I have observed cannot carry such intensity without fear. You do it naturally." Ethan's heart raced. I never thought anyone could see me like that. Not really, not before you. It feels like you can read me." Liara nodded. "I can, but not in the way you might fear. I do not intrude. I understand. I see you as you are." The realization hit Ethan like a wave. Here was a being from an entirely different world, someone whose species he could not even begin to comprehend, yet she understood him more than any human ever had. He wanted to speak, to ask questions, to probe this mystery, but the words seemed too small. Instead, he simply stood, feeling the enormity of the moment and the weight of the connection between them. Night fell and the forest seemed alive with a quiet hum, a pulse that resonated in Ethan's chest. Liara gestured toward a small clearing where the ground glowed faintly beneath them. "Rest here," she said. "It is safe. The night is calm, and I will remain nearby." Ethan obeyed, settling onto the soft moss. He felt a mix of exhilaration and disbelief. He had come to Orlaia IX expecting to find alien life, perhaps intelligence, maybe even beauty. But he had never imagined this instant, profound connection that felt as if it had existed before time itself. He couldn't explain it, and he didn't want to. Words could not capture the feeling of standing on an alien world, watching a being so extraordinary recognize him in a way that made his entire being feel seen. Liara sat a short distance away, watching him with a calm, steady gaze. The light from the bioluminescent plants danced across her features, highlighting the sharp angles of her face, the gentle curve of her hands, the glow of her eyes. Ethan wanted to reach out, to bridge the small distance between them, but he hesitated, afraid that any movement might shatter the delicate perfection of the moment. Finally, after what felt like hours, she spoke again. "You are brave, human. Most would not venture so far into the unknown without fear. Yet you came, driven by curiosity and wonder. That is rare, and it drew me to you." Ethan looked up at her, feeling a mixture of awe and disbelief. I think I understand now. I don't know how, but I feel it too. I feel it, this connection, it's overwhelming." Liara's smile was faint, but her eyes glimmered with an intensity that made Ethan's heart pound. "It is not something you can force. It is recognition. You and I, we are aware of each other in a way that defies distance, defies species, defies logic. You do not have to understand it fully. You only need to feel it." Ethan nodded, unable to speak. He felt it. The bond, the inexplicable pull toward her. The certainty that he was no longer alone in the universe in the way he had ever been before. For the first time, he realized that exploration was not just about discovering worlds. It was about discovering connection, understanding, and the possibility of something far greater than himself. As the night deepened and the two sat quietly in the glowing forest, Ethan Carter knew one thing with perfect clarity. This encounter was not an accident. The universe had conspired to bring them together, and nothing, not distance, not species, not reason, could change what had begun the moment their eyes met. And so, on an alien world beneath glowing trees and twin moons, the first chapter of an extraordinary story began. One of wonder, courage, and a connection that neither human nor alien could have anticipated. Yet both would come to cherish with every beat of their hearts. The days on Orlaia IX passed in a blur of wonder and discovery. Ethan woke each morning with a thrill that he could barely contain. The forest stretched endlessly around the small human camp, glowing softly under the violet sky. Even with the bioluminescent trees casting their gentle light, the forest had a quiet, almost sacred air, as if it were aware of their presence and had accepted it. Liara became his constant companion. She moved through the forest with a grace that defied explanation, stepping over tangled roots and glowing plants as if the terrain itself bent to her will. She showed Ethan things no human had ever imagined. Rivers of liquid light that flowed like music, flowers that opened only at night and hummed a tune when touched, and creatures whose shapes shifted with emotion. Every time he witnessed one of these marvels, Ethan felt a mix of awe and disbelief. It was beautiful, yes, but it was also humbling. The universe was far larger and more mysterious than humanity could comprehend. Yet, what captivated him most was Liara herself. Every day, Ethan noticed small details. How she tilted her head slightly when curious, how her amber eyes caught and reflected the light around her, and how her expression changed with subtle emotion. She seemed to sense everything he felt before he could say a word, reading the tension in his shoulders or the excitement in his gaze. There was a comfort in this, a quiet reassurance that he had never experienced among humans. "Why me?" Ethan asked one evening as they sat near a small pool where the water glowed faintly blue. The reflection of their faces shimmered on its surface. "Why do you pay attention to me like this? There are many humans in the mission, but you notice me more than anyone else." Liara watched him silently for a moment before replying. "Because you are different. Most species I observe act out of fear or instinct. Humans are unpredictable. But you are honest with yourself, even in uncertainty. You do not hide your thoughts or emotions. I can sense it, and it drew me to you." Ethan swallowed. Her words felt like a weight and a gift all at once. "I don't understand how you can know that," he admitted. "We are from completely different worlds. I'm just a human. You're everything I can't even imagine." Liara smiled faintly. "Understanding is not always about logic. Sometimes it is about recognition. I recognized you long before your ship landed. I sensed your arrival and your heart, and I knew you would see more than others. You are not just exploring a planet. You are exploring connection." The word connection hung in the air. Ethan had heard it before in stories of human emotion, in songs and books, but he had never felt it like this. Not with another human, and certainly not with someone so alien, so different. Yet every fiber of his being agreed with her statement. He was connected, to her, to this world, and to something larger than himself. Over the next few days, Liara began teaching him how to move through the forest safely. Some creatures were harmless, but others were territorial, capable of defensive attacks that could harm an unprepared human. Ethan was impressed by her knowledge and the way she anticipated the movement of every creature, reading their intentions with ease. He realized that survival on Orlaia IX was not about strength alone. It was about understanding, patience, and intuition. One afternoon, while they explored a grove where the trees pulsed in shades of gold and pink, Ethan noticed something unusual. A faint shimmer in the distance, almost like a ripple in the air. He pointed toward it, and Liara's expression changed, a subtle tension creeping across her face. "They are here," she said quietly, almost to herself. Ethan frowned. "Who's here?" Liara's amber eyes met his. "The observers. They watch from afar, monitoring any human activity on this planet. They do not like us interacting." Ethan felt a chill run through him. "Observers? You mean aliens, others like you?" "Yes," Liara replied. "They are cautious, distrustful of humans. Your species has a reputation, unpredictable, persistent, and sometimes dangerous. But you are different. I see it. They may not." The weight of her words settled on Ethan's shoulders. They were not just explorers, they were being watched. And while the forest seemed peaceful, he realized that danger might be closer than he thought. Despite the tension, Ethan could not focus on fear. His thoughts kept returning to Liara. He wanted to understand her, to know why she had chosen to pay attention to him, to feel what she felt. He noticed the subtle ways she observed him, how her gaze followed his hands when he examined a plant, how she mirrored his breathing when they sat quietly together. It was as if their minds were learning to speak without words. One evening, as the twin moons rose and bathed the forest in pale light, Ethan could no longer resist. He reached out, his hand hovering near hers. Liara noticed immediately and did not pull away. Instead, she turned slightly, letting their fingers brush. The touch was electric, and Ethan felt his chest tighten in a way that was both terrifying and exhilarating. "Why does this feel so powerful?" he whispered, almost afraid to break the moment. Liara's eyes softened. "Because it is not just touch. You are human, yes, but your emotions are strong, deep. You feel in ways most of my kind cannot. I sense it, and it resonates. It is natural for you to feel this, just as it is natural for me to recognize it." Ethan's heart raced. Every instinct told him to pull back, to remind himself of the danger, the mission, the unknown. But he could not. The connection was too strong, too real. For the first time in his life, he understood the meaning of presence, of being completely seen and understood by another being, and returning that understanding in equal measure. Days turned into a rhythm of exploration and learning. Ethan documented the alien flora and fauna, the strange phenomena of the glowing forest, but he also found himself documenting Liara. In his mind, in the way he noted her movements, her gestures, the way her hair shimmered under the violet sky. He realized he had never studied a being with such attention, not even humans. She was fascinating, yes, but also, more than that. She inspired a sense of wonder and admiration he had never felt before. Liara, for her part, observed him with quiet curiosity. Humans were unpredictable, and she enjoyed learning from Ethan. He laughed easily, asked questions that challenged her assumptions, and displayed courage even in small, seemingly trivial ways. Most importantly, he did not approach the planet or her with fear or domination, as many explorers she had seen in the past. He approached with respect, with curiosity, with empathy. "You are different from the others," she said one night as they sat by a glowing river, its waters flowing like liquid light. "Your kind is known for persistence, but most humans seek conquest or power. You seek understanding. That is rare, and it makes you remarkable." Ethan smiled faintly. "I've never thought of myself that way. I want to know, I want to see, to learn, to experience. That's all." Liara nodded, as if his words confirmed what she had already sensed. "That is enough. That is all that matters, and it drew me to you." The bond between them grew stronger each day, not just because of proximity, but because of shared experience. They faced challenges together, learning to navigate the alien forest, avoiding dangerous creatures, and observing phenomena that defied human logic. Each trial, no matter how small, strengthened the connection, making Ethan realize that love, or something like it, was not just about attraction. It was about trust, understanding, and shared courage. One afternoon, they discovered a grove of massive, glowing trees whose roots formed a labyrinth of natural bridges over a small, luminescent lake. Liara turned to Ethan and gestured. "This is sacred ground. It is where we come to reflect, to connect with the planet and with each other. It is a place of truth." Ethan followed her, feeling a sense of reverence he had never experienced. They walked hand in hand along the roots, feeling the soft pulse of light beneath their feet. He could feel her heart, or perhaps the echo of it, in sync with his own. It was a strange sensation, alien yet familiar, like discovering a song that had existed his whole life but he had never heard. "Humans are capable of great emotion," Liara said quietly. "I have observed many species. Most express fear, aggression, curiosity. But your species, your kind, can feel in a way that moves even me. It is not just survival instinct. It is connection, love, courage, and hope all in one." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. He had never considered that humans could be so powerful in ways that mattered beyond technology or strength. And now, standing in a sacred grove with a being from another world, he understood that perhaps the greatest strength of humanity was not the mind, the body, or the tools they built, but the heart. As the moons rose high in the sky, Ethan and Liara sat silently, the glowing forest around them alive with quiet music. They did not need to speak. Each understood the other perfectly. For the first time, Ethan felt a peace he had never known, the certainty that he had found something extraordinary, a connection that transcended species, worlds, and reason. Yet, deep in the back of his mind, a flicker of worry remained. Liara had mentioned the observers. There was a danger lurking, unseen but inevitable. He realized that while their bond was powerful, the universe was vast and unpredictable. Their connection, however magical, could bring them both into conflict with forces far beyond their control. But for now, Ethan pushed that thought aside. He focused on the present, the glowing forest, the soft pulse of bioluminescent light, the warmth of Liara's presence beside him. He knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, he would face them. Not just for the mission, not just for exploration, but for the bond that had begun the moment their eyes met. A bond that promised adventure, discovery, and something far greater than either of them could imagine. And as the night deepened, the stars above Orlaia IX twinkling like scattered diamonds across a violet sky, Ethan Carter understood one undeniable truth. He had never felt anything like this in his life, and he would never forget it. This was just the beginning, and he was ready to follow it wherever it led. The serenity of Orlaia IX was shattered the morning Ethan and Liara explored a dense grove near the northern cliffs. The air, usually soft and fragrant with alien flora, carried a sharp metallic tang. Ethan noticed the subtle change first, an almost imperceptible hum that vibrated through the ground. He stopped, scanning the forest, and saw Liara stiffen beside him. "They are close," she said, her voice calm but tense. "The observers. They do not like humans so near their territory." Ethan's stomach dropped. "How close?" Liara's amber eyes narrowed. "Too close to ignore, we must move carefully." They had trained together for moments like this, learning the movements of the alien forest, understanding the patterns of creatures and plants, predicting where danger could strike. But nothing in their training could have prepared Ethan for the sight that met them a few minutes later. Through the bioluminescent trees, sleek ships hovered silently, their surfaces reflecting the glowing forest. They were unlike anything Ethan had seen, elegant metallic with forms that twisted and curved, almost organic, yet impossibly advanced. Ethan's heart pounded. "They're going to—" "They will try to remove you," Liara interrupted. "Not to harm unnecessarily. But your presence is disruptive to them." Ethan swallowed hard, realizing the full weight of her words. The connection he shared with Liara was no longer private, it had attracted attention. Forces beyond their understanding were now focused on them. Fear prickled at his mind, but he forced himself to breathe. Panic would not help. Courage would. That was human nature, he reminded himself. Curiosity and courage, the qualities Liara had praised before, now became his shield. "Stay close to me," Liara said, guiding him through the glowing underbrush. "We can evade them if we move strategically. Trust me." Ethan nodded, gripping her hand as they slipped through the forest. The alien ships remained above, scanning, their hum like a pulse against his chest. He felt a thrill unlike any before, not fear alone, but the combination of danger and the need to protect someone he cared for more than life itself. Hours passed as they navigated the labyrinthine forest. Liara's knowledge of the terrain was invaluable. She could sense the movements of the observers in a way Ethan could not understand. They ducked behind towering glowing trees, crossed streams of liquid light, and climbed natural bridges of roots, each step calculated and precise. During a brief pause, Ethan looked at her. She moved with confidence and grace, her expression calm even as the danger approached. He realized that part of what had drawn him to her was this strength, the quiet certainty, the awareness, the courage that matched his own. "You're incredible," he whispered. Liara's amber eyes met his. "And so are you, Ethan. Humans often underestimate themselves. You have something rare, the ability to act with clarity even under fear. That is why I connected with you. That is why I trust you." Ethan felt warmth spread through his chest. He wanted to tell her more, to explain the depth of his feelings, but words felt too small. Instead, he nodded, drawing strength from her gaze. Together, they moved forward, weaving through the forest like shadows. Despite their careful movement, the observers detected them. A beam of soft light cut through the trees, nearly missing Ethan. He dove behind a glowing shrub, his heart hammering. Liara pulled him down beside her, crouching low. "They are scanning," she whispered. "We must move now." Ethan nodded, adrenaline sharpening his senses. He followed her lead, trusting instinct and courage. Humans were adaptable, he thought. They could solve problems, find paths, and act where others hesitated. His mind worked quickly, identifying escape routes through the luminous terrain. Liara's guidance combined with his improvisation created a rhythm, a dance of evasion that kept them one step ahead of the alien observers. At one point, they reached a clearing where the ground pulsed brighter than anywhere else. Ethan realized it was a natural energy field, a phenomenon Liara had taught him to respect. It could boost their movement or, if misused, trap them completely. "Step carefully," Liara instructed. "The energy is strong here. Use it to our advantage." Ethan followed her instructions, feeling the pulse beneath his feet. It lifted him slightly, moving him forward faster than his own strength allowed. Liara matched his pace, her hand never leaving his. They crossed the clearing, evading detection by inches, their synchronized steps almost like a silent conversation. Once on the other side, they crouched behind a massive tree whose trunk glowed silver. Ethan exhaled, realizing how close they had come to capture. He looked at Liara, her calm face illuminated by the soft forest light, and felt something swell inside him. It was more than relief. It was admiration, love, and an unshakable bond. "They will not give up easily," Liara said, reading his thoughts. "We must prepare." "But I believe in you, I believe in us." Ethan swallowed hard. I trust you completely." Liara's eyes softened, and for a brief moment the tension of the forest seemed to melt. Ethan felt a surge of connection, an affirmation that even in danger they were stronger together. It was a feeling of power he had never known, an unshakable trust between two beings from different worlds, united by courage, emotion, and understanding. The observers, realizing that immediate capture was impossible, began to retreat, their ships dissolving into the violet sky. Ethan and Liara stayed hidden until the hum of the ships faded entirely. The forest returned to its gentle glow, and the air smelled sweet once more. Ethan sank to the ground, exhausted but exhilarated. That was insane," he said, laughing weakly. Liara knelt beside him, her hand brushing his shoulder. "Yes, but you did not panic. You acted with reason and courage. That is why I admire you. That is why I trust you." He looked at her, feeling the intensity of the moment. "I've never felt like this before, not with anyone. But with you, it's different. I don't know how, but I care about you, more than I ever expected to care about anyone." Liara's expression softened. "I felt it from the moment we met. That is why I allowed this bond to grow. You are human, yes, but your heart, it is extraordinary. That is why I knew instantly that we would understand each other." The words sent a shiver through Ethan. He had faced danger. He had braved unknown forests. He had stared at alien wonders, but nothing compared to the intensity of feeling her acknowledgement. It was as if the universe itself had conspired to bring them together, to place them in this moment where danger, courage, and connection collided. For the next several days, Ethan and Liara worked together to navigate the forest more strategically. They discovered hidden paths, secret groves, and areas of the forest that shimmered with unknown energy. Each discovery brought them closer, not just as explorers and guides, but as partners who shared a bond that transcended fear, species, and logic. One night, as they rested near a crystal-clear stream, Ethan spoke quietly. "Liara, what happens if they come back? The observers?" Liara watched the flowing water, her face serene. "They will return, that is their nature, but we are prepared. We have each other and we have knowledge. Humans are resilient, you are resilient." Ethan smiled faintly, feeling strength in her words. "I've always thought resilience was about survival, but with you, it feels like something more, like it's about connection, too. About trust and courage." Liara's amber eyes glimmered in the moonlight. "Yes, you understand. That is why this bond is rare. You are human, but your spirit is exceptional. That is why I am here with you. That is why I trust you completely." In that moment, Ethan realized that he had found something far greater than discovery or adventure. He had found understanding, trust, and love, the kind of connection that could bridge worlds, species, and hearts. The forest around them glowed, the moons reflected in the water, and the energy of Aurelia IX seemed to affirm what he felt. But he also knew that danger was never far away. The observers had seen them. Their interest would not fade, and the next encounter could be far more dangerous. Yet, for the first time, Ethan did not feel fear. He felt determination. He would face any challenge to protect Liara, to honor the bond that had begun the moment their eyes met. And as the twin moons bathed the forest in silver light, Ethan reached for Liara's hand. She took it without hesitation. Together, they watched the glowing waters, feeling the pulse of the planet beneath them and the pulse of something deeper, an unbreakable connection that neither distance nor danger could sever. In the days that followed, Ethan and Liara continued their exploration, always aware of the observers' presence but unafraid. Their bond grew stronger with every challenge, every shared discovery, and every silent understanding. They laughed, they marveled, they strategized, and they trusted each other completely. For Ethan, the realization became clear. Humanity was not only capable of survival in the stars, but of connection, courage, and love that could rival the most advanced civilizations. And with Liara by his side, he felt unstoppable. The sky over Oralia IX shimmered with colors Ethan had never imagined. The violet hues of day had deepened into a rich indigo, and the twin moons cast their pale light across the glowing forest. The air pulsed with quiet energy, almost as if the planet itself were aware of the approaching challenge. Ethan knew that the observers would return soon. He could feel the tension in the forest, the subtle vibrations in the glowing trees, the restless movements of creatures who sensed danger. Liara stood beside him, her silver skin reflecting the soft luminescence of the forest. Her amber eyes were steady and focused, yet there was a warmth in them, a quiet confidence that reassured him. Ethan had learned to trust that gaze, to let it guide him through moments of uncertainty, and now, more than ever, he needed that trust. "They will not leave us alone," Liara said softly, her voice calm but firm. "But we are ready, you are ready." Ethan nodded. His heart pounded with a mix of fear, excitement, and determination. The past days had tested them, pushed them to the limits of endurance and strategy. They had evaded the observers, navigated dangerous terrain, and discovered the secrets of the glowing forest together. But he knew the observers would return, and this time there would be no easy escape. He looked at Liara, feeling the depth of their bond. It was more than attraction or fascination. It was understanding, trust, and a connection that transcended species. He knew that if danger came, he would do anything to protect her, just as she would do anything to protect him. That thought gave him courage, a strength he had never known before. As they moved through the forest, Ethan noticed the subtle signs of the observers' approach. A shimmer in the air, a quiet hum, the rustle of distant foliage. Liara's movements became sharper, more precise, guiding him along hidden paths and across natural bridges formed by the glowing roots. Their synchronization was effortless, the result of days of shared experience and instinctive understanding. Suddenly, a beam of energy cut through the forest, narrowly missing them. Ethan dove behind a massive silver tree, his heart racing. Liara was already beside him, crouching low. She touched his shoulder gently, grounding him. "We face them together," she said. "Do not hesitate. Trust your instincts. Trust me." Ethan swallowed hard, feeling a surge of determination. He had never imagined that survival would depend on the strength of his heart as much as on his mind. But now he understood. Humans were capable of more than endurance and intelligence. They could love, they could trust, and that emotional depth gave them a power few could anticipate. The observers descended, their ships twisting and floating with unnatural grace. Beams of light scanned the forest, and Ethan realized that evasion alone would not save them. They would have to fight, using not only human ingenuity but the bond he shared with Liara. Liara led him to a grove where the energy of the forest was strongest. The ground pulsed beneath their feet, responding to their presence. "Here," she said, "we can turn the forest itself to our advantage. The energy will amplify our actions, but we must act as one." Ethan nodded, feeling the pulse beneath him, a rhythm that seemed to sync with his own heartbeat. He had faced danger before, but never like this, never with a partner whose understanding and strength matched his own. The observers advanced, their energy beams cutting paths through the glowing foliage. Ethan and Liara moved in perfect coordination. Liara's alien abilities allowed her to manipulate the forest energy subtly, creating barriers of light and shifting terrain to confuse their enemies. Ethan improvised, using fallen branches and glowing vines to create traps, drawing on human creativity and adaptability. One of the observers' ships descended close enough for Ethan to see the pilot, a sleek, armored figure, alien yet unmistakably intelligent, its eyes scanning and calculating. A pulse of fear went through him, but he suppressed it. Liara squeezed his hand, a silent reassurance, and he felt courage flow through him like fire. The battle unfolded as a dance of light and strategy. Ethan and Liara moved through the forest, evading attacks while striking back with energy pulses amplified by the planet itself. The observers underestimated their coordination, the harmony of human intuition and alien knowledge. Every time a beam approached, they found a way to redirect it, to evade it, to use it against their enemies. During a critical moment, one of the ships unleashed a sweeping energy net aimed directly at Liara. Without thinking, Ethan leaped, throwing himself between the net and her. The energy coursed over him, burning slightly but not stopping him. He felt pain, yes, but also exhilaration. The risk was real, but so was the bond between them. He had learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Liara moved swiftly, her abilities guiding the energy around them, creating a safe path. She reached Ethan's side instantly, her hand brushing against his arm. The contact, small as it was, sent a wave of warmth through him. He realized that their connection was not just emotional but physical, energetic, and profound. Together, they were stronger than the observers, stronger than any force that tried to separate them. The observers faltered, their calculations thrown off by the combination of human creativity and Liara's alien insight. One by one, the ships retreated, beams retracting as they recalculated. Ethan and Liara stood side by side in the glowing grove, breathing heavily but victorious. The forest around them pulsed in a soft, harmonious glow, as if acknowledging their triumph. Ethan looked at Liara, his chest swelling with a mixture of relief and awe. "We did it," he whispered, almost disbelieving. We really did it." Liara's amber eyes softened, and she smiled. "Yes, together, that is the power of connection. That is why I trusted you." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. He had faced danger, braved the unknown, and discovered alien worlds, but nothing compared to this. The realization that his courage, combined with trust and love, could create something unstoppable. "Liara, I don't know how to explain it," he said, his voice raw. "I've never felt anything like this before. I think I love you." Liara's smile deepened, her eyes glimmering with intensity. "I knew it from the moment I saw you. That is why I waited. That is why I trusted the universe to bring you here. And now, I love you too, Ethan, more than words can express, more than any logic or reason could allow." For a long moment, they simply stood together, hands clasped, hearts beating in sync with the rhythm of the forest. The danger had passed, but the intensity of their emotions remained. They had discovered something rare, not just love, but understanding, trust, and partnership that could transcend worlds. Over the next days, Ethan and Liara explored Orlaia IX with renewed purpose. They documented the wonders of the forest, its glowing rivers, its singing flowers, and creatures that changed shape with emotion. Yet, even amidst discovery, their focus remained on each other. Every gesture, every look, every touch reinforced the bond that had started the moment their eyes met. Ethan marveled at the realization that humans were capable of such profound connection. Other species could be advanced, strong, or intelligent, but the depth of human emotion, the ability to love, to trust, to sacrifice, was unparalleled. And with Liara, he understood that humanity could not only survive in the stars but thrive, connecting across worlds in ways no one could anticipate. One evening, they climbed to a cliff overlooking the glowing forest. The twin moons reflected on a river below, and the colors of the forest shifted with quiet beauty. Ethan felt a sense of peace he had never known. "Liara, I never imagined that exploring a planet would lead me here," he said softly. "I thought I was searching for discovery, but I found this. You," Liara's eyes glimmered. "And I found you. Humanity is capable of great courage, and you exemplify it. But you also carry something rare: compassion, understanding, and love. That is why we are here together. That is why this connection exists." Ethan took her hand, holding it tightly. "I promise whatever comes next, I will protect this bond. I will face anything. With you, I feel unstoppable." Liara leaned closer, her forehead resting against his. "And I will do the same. Together, we are stronger than any force in the universe. That is the power of recognition, of trust, and of love." As they gazed over Orlaia IX, Ethan realized the truth of their journey. They had faced danger, navigated the unknown, and discovered not just alien worlds but the strength of humanity itself. Humans were resilient, creative, and capable of connection beyond comprehension. And together, with trust and love guiding them, they could face anything the universe threw their way. The forest pulsed beneath them, as if alive with the knowledge of their triumph. The danger had passed, the observers had retreated, and yet the story of Ethan and Liara was only beginning. They had discovered something rare and powerful, something that would not only define their lives, but perhaps shape the understanding of humans across the stars. Ethan looked at Liara, feeling the depth of their shared journey. "I never thought I would find this," he said. "Not here, not now, not like this, but I'm grateful. Grateful for every moment, every step, every challenge that brought us together." Liara's amber eyes glimmered with warmth. "And I am grateful as well, for your courage, your heart, your humanity. That is why this bond exists. That is why we will thrive together." In that moment, atop the glowing cliffs of Orlaia IX, hand in hand, Ethan and Liara understood something profound. Humanity's greatest strength was not the ships they built, the technology they mastered, or the worlds they explored. It was the capacity to love, to trust, and to connect. And that strength, when combined with courage and understanding, was unstoppable. The stars above Aurelia IX shone brightly, twin moons casting their soft light on the glowing forest below. Ethan and Liara stood together, hearts united, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The universe was vast, mysterious, and sometimes dangerous, but it was also full of wonder, connection, and possibility. And in that vastness, two souls, human and alien, had found each other, proving that courage, love, and trust could bridge worlds, species, and hearts. Together, they looked to the horizon, knowing that their story would continue, bound not by fear or distance, but by the power of the human heart and the extraordinary connection they had discovered. They had survived, they had discovered, and they had loved. And in that, they had conquered far more than any mission, any exploration, or any observer could have imagined. Humanity, Ethan realized, was stronger than anyone had ever believed, and together with Liara, they were unstoppable.